Right, team, welcome to the upper arm, the humerus. Okay, so just going through again, I want us to make sure we understand the landmarks that they're important for muscle attachment, range of motion, joint articulation. And so just being able to understand, like I said in the last video, being able to understand the attachment sites makes it important for when we're looking at movement patterns, or we're looking at joint stability, or we're looking at muscle movement. Understanding where that muscle starts and finishes is important. And so being able to know the landmarks of each of the bones is important. I've said important far too many times in that sentence, but it is important. So what we can see here is we have the humerus. Now, if we go through, some main things that we have to pick up on is, first we have our head of humerus. Okay, and so that's the big ball that's going to go into that ball and socket joint. Okay, which is our shoulder. All right, and the head of humerus attaches into and articulates into the scapula. Right, we have two tubercles, which are like big sort of notches that sit on the outside or the lateral side of the humerus in the superior area, so the top of it, and they are called our tubercles. Okay, and we have a greater one and a lesser one. So we have one that sits above and is a little bit bigger, and then we have a lesser, which is a little bit smaller and sits a little bit more medially. Under that, we have the intertubular tubercular groove. Right, so in between the two tubercles, we have a groove that runs down there. That's another landmark we need to know. We have the deltoid tuberosity. So obviously this is going to be an attachment point for the deltoid. On the inside, we have the radial groove, which we can see through here, going down following the lateral supracondylar ridge, the radial fossa, the capitulum, the trochlea, the medial epicondyles, the olecranon fossa, the coronoid fossa, the medial supracondylar ridge, and the lateral epicondyle. So epicondyles are like the ends of the bones. Okay, so the ends of this, the humerus, we have these two areas which are called epicondyles. Okay, and then going back up, we have the deltoid tuberosity. Obviously, that's what it looks like from the back. And then we have the surgical neck, okay, which is with the anatomical neck is the one that will sit on the, so this is the ball, okay, so this is the head of humerus. Inside here, we're going to have our anatomical neck, and then on the outside of the bone, we're going to have our surgical neck. Okay, so things we need to understand: the coronoid and olecranon fossae, they determine the range of motion of the ulna in the joint. Okay, so remember the ulna is sitting in our lower limb. So our forearm, not our lower limb, but the lower part of our limb. And so then we have the radius ulnar midline if we're standing in the anatomical position. So the coronoid and olecranon fossae, so they're these like hollowed out ridges on the front and back of the humerus. They are the responsible for how much range of movement we can get in so how far back we can go, okay, unless you have big biceps like myself, and then how far into the extension, hyperextension we can go. The articulations that we need to know is that the scapula articulates with the head of humerus, the radius articulates with the capitulum of humerus. So again, we're looking down here in this area, okay, and then the ulna is articulates with the trochlea, okay, and that sits down here. So when we're looking at the upper limb consists of the arm, the brachium, the forearm, the antebrachium, and the hand, the manus. All right, there are 37 bones that form the skeletal framework of each of the upper limbs. And we can like inside here, you can actually feel, if you have a go, you can feel the different areas. So you can feel here, the medial epicondyle. On the outside, you can feel the lateral epicondyles. Okay. We can then, in a handshaking process, in a handshaking position, you can find the olecranon process by sliding your finger medially and laterally on the olecranon process. So if we look through here, the olecranon fossa, okay, sits down into here. So if we go into there, we can feel, so if we go into here, we can feel inside here the bone. Okay, so that is where we would be our olecranon process. So obviously the second video of our appendicular skeleton, but again, breaking them down into small chunks just so that we can spend a lot of time. It's easy for you to be able to go through in a 5-minute video as opposed to getting you into a 20-25-minute video across the whole board. So watch this space for our next one, where we're going to go into the forearm, and then we will go into the lower limbs, the femur down into the fibula and tibia. Fibula and tibia. It's a long morning. Coffee. Good job, team. See you in the next video. Good hustle.